takes imperfection. So today's message is, what if perfection isn't the goal? Isn't that wonderful too? What if perfection isn't the goal? And it will be given by our wonderful practitioner. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I messed that up. Let me try that again. It'll be given by our wonderful Reverend Charlene Banks. We are so glad that you joined us here today. Feel free to add any comments, any celebrations, any concerns that you want us to include later in our service when we do our spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. We are so glad that you took some time out of your day to join us. We're going to kick things off with our opening video. So sit back, relax, and welcome.
Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
And so it is. So for our meditation today, I have something just a little bit different. I'm going to cue up the music. And this is a poem that I came across this morning. And I'm going to read it one time. It's kind of short, just so that you get a taste of it. And then I'm going to read it again. And I just want you to really just take the words in. And I'm going to let the images play out. I know when we get to our sunset, we're ending our meditation. So after the poem, there's probably going to be some quiet time just to reflect on those words. And you can also think about our focus for this month, practice makes imperfect. And the title of our talk today, what if perfection isn't the goal? So here we go. Before we begin, let's get into that meditative state. So just relax your shoulders, ease back into your chair, wiggle your toes, stretch if that helps you. Close your eyes if you prefer to do that. You can watch the images on the screen. You can just go within. It's up to you. Whatever works for you, right? Breathe in and hold and release. Breathe in, hold, and release. And you can keep your focus on your breath. Keep doing the inhale, hold, and exhale as I read our poem that's our meditation for today. It's called Truth in Me, and it's by R.H. Drake. I have no desire to fit in, no plans to walk with the crowd. I have my own mind, heart, and soul. I am me, and it has taken me years to realize how important that is. I don't know about you, but I just got some goosebumps thinking about those last words. So like I said, I'm going to read it one more time. The first was just to let you hear where this poem is going and the message that it has. And now as I read it, I want you to really dive into the words. Think about what they say. Listen with your heart, with your mind, with your soul. The title of the poem is Truth in Me. I have no desire to fit in, no plans to walk with a crowd. I have my own mind, heart, and soul. I am me. And it has taken me years to realize how important that is. Just as there's no two sunsets that are exactly alike, no two leaves, no two snowflakes. Everything around us is beautiful in its imperfection. And this month, we're going to focus on imperfection and the beauty that lies within that statement. I am me, and it has taken me years to realize how important that is. So as our sun sets, just take a moment to come back to us. Wiggle your toes, stretch if you need to, because we have Leo on standby. She's waiting to sing. All right, that ends our meditation. And now it's time for Leah.
Thanks so much, Tamara, but never waiting to sing, always enjoying the meditation. Thank you. If you should doubt that life is holy, let me shout what love just told me. Get into the moment. Set a place at the table. Say your grace just 'cause you're able. And get into the moment. As a spark ignites a flame, holy, holy is each name. Every smile on every face is a prayer. And the dark and then the day, in the swirling Milky Way, in the mile of open space here and there. Get into the moment. La, 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 la. From the grave to the cradle, only one truth, only one place. Get into the moment. From the walker to the stroller, meditator, holy roller. Come get into the moment. Let the loving sun's embrace light your heart as it does your face. Let the quiet of the moon get you free. Every day is a new birth. There is magic on this earth. We can wield it if we choose to. Let it be when we can get into the moment. Get into the moment. Dance into the moment. Laugh into the moment. Love into the moment. God is in the moment.
Oh, I need a copy of that. Is that is that original song, Lee? Is that we need to talk.
It is. We'll talk. It's it's on the album. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Okay, the links coming in the show notes, as they say on the podcasts. Oh my gosh, get into the moment. I was just grooving. I'm like, okay, I think I'm up. I think I should talk. You see, this is the month where we get to embrace exactly who we are and how we're showing up in the world. Exactly. Not the ideation of what we wanted to be when we were first growing up, and that we had an idea of what it would be like when we finally get grown, and then we got surprised because there's bills to pay. So maybe some of us said, all right, well, I'll go to work from 9 to 5, and then at night, I'm going to do my dream. And then night comes and you're tired, or maybe there's some kids, or there's some overarching responsibility that every time you sit down to focus on your dream, you're thinking, oh, I'm not ready. What if it's not right? What if it's not perfect? What if people laugh? And then maybe some of us don't sing that song that's trying to be sung in us. I love that Leah didn't listen to all of that. She sat down and said, listen, there's something coming through me. Get into the moment. And she did so. And I can't wait to buy that album. My gosh. The idea of doing what you came here to do and lighting up other people as a result of it, which is icing on the cake, it's just, I feel like that's the divine saying, I created you purposefully. And it says that to each and every one of us. Like Tamara was reading in that beautiful little meditative poem, I don't have to walk with the crowd. I'm not going to do that. I don't have to fit in. I don't need to do that. It took me a long time to realize this. I get to be me, and that's pretty darn awesome. I love that, because the other day I was listening to a podcast, as per usual, because I walk a dog and I listen to things. And Reverend Michael, he has the one, Take Back Your Life, or Take Back Your Mind. He ends every one of his long talks with a meditation. And this meditation, it was simple. You sat on your pillow and then you just kind of ask yourself, who am I? And he goes, not your house, not your job, not your belongings. And he keeps asking it, who are you? Not your friends, not your family. And as I'm asking myself this on the little cushion, I see myself sort of, my conscious awareness of myself went whoosh out to my right, and it was kind of hovering above looking. And then it was kind of free from all the trappings of being inside the body. And all of a sudden, I'm like, whoa, I am bigger than all of the little stuff I get caught up in. And it was like, I don't know if you've seen Snoopy ever dancing in the grass with his nose in the air, just kind of, that was the energy that I was looking at me with. And it was awesome. It was awesome. And so in Reverend Michael's little, it's like a little 8 minute something. He leaves you there for a little while. And then it started putting stuff into perspective. I was like, oh, wow. All I got from that, what I got from it, not all, what I got from it was I'm pure love. Love. I'm supposed to be here and give that. And whatever it looks like, that's whatever I decide and whatever it feels good to be. I get to show up and be love. And it doesn't hurt that I had just given love to this little baby. All right, it's a 5-year-old child, but a baby because this baby was born with a lot of complications, and that baby was in hospice, and so wasn't expected to live, much longer. But I got to go and be the person to hold on to him and rock him in the rocking chair and just love on him and give little kisses to this little being of light that just wanted to be held. And whenever the nurses there put him down, he was like, I really want to be held. But he doesn't talk, but he's just really wants to be held. And when you hold him, he holds on, the grabs, and he just wants to be hugged like a little bear, of course. So that's my job. Just love you up for 2 hours, loving him up, just rocking. And I chose not to open up a phone or do anything. Like I just was like, let me just be here. That was that same energy that I got when I was in that meditation. Like, I'm just here to love. And I think we're all here to do that. And how it looks, well, that's the part everybody gets all up in arms about. How does your presence look on the face of this earth? And it gets a little judgy. Long blinks. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Sometimes we get a little judgy. We judge ourselves with this harsh idea of perfectionism. And I wonder where it came from. Literally, I know you think I'm kidding and I'm going to answer my own question. I seriously don't know. I don't know where it came from. Who told us we had to be perfect? Is it the advertising that says you're not good enough? Go buy this thing and buy that thing? Is it society, sit up straight, chew with your mouth closed, don't be a problem? Or is it something else? Is it a misinterpretation of some well-meaning philosopher or scientist or theologian of old? I mean, it's probably all of the above, but as I think about it, I'm thinking what happens is this. I've watched me and I know me. Maybe this applies to you. There's an idea that I have in my head about the way things should, there's that word, be. And then life happens and it's never the way my idea had it. And so then I compare my idea to the real thing, and then I think it's not good enough. The idea could never be, sorry, I'm laughing at myself. Our ideas are always perfect because they don't have the sludge of everyday 3D space to get through. The idea of something is perfect, sounds great. The execution of it, yeah, you got to move through 3D space, and there are other people and there's things that it's a little slower to respond to that. And then when it does happen, it looks a little different than the idea. So then we call it imperfect. What if it's supposed to be? What if our idea was off? What if it's supposed to be imperfect? What if the point is imperfection, and through the imperfection comes the usefulness, the utility, the whole reason why we're here to grow together? Yeah, what if yikes, what if the fact that we have some edges and a little rough spots causes the other things to bond a little better, because you need some edges and rough spots in order to get a good connection? And I'm just thinking Velcro. What if Velcro, this just occurred to me, what if Velcro decided, I want Part of me is rough and part of me's hooky. Part of me is like soft and the other part has like rough. What I'm just going to smooth off the rough parts so that they're both velvety. Both sides of me are velvety. Hey, how come I don't work anymore? How come it doesn't work? Velcro needs a fuzzy part and a hooky part to get it to stick. What if the way we connect with each other is through the rough parts, the not so perfect parts? Thoughts? Okay, but there's a story that kind of helps me with this. So this story is about a water bearer, a person who carries pots of water. So this person's in India, and they had two large pots, each hung on each end of a pole, which he carried across his neck. So you've got it, right? You've got the idea. Long pole, two pots, walking. One of the pots had a crack in it, and while the other pot was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water at the end of the long walk from the stream to the master's house, the cracked pot arrived only half full. For a full 2 years, this went on every day, with the bearer delivering only 1.5 pots full of water to his master's house. Of course, the perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments. It was perfect to the end to which it was made. And in my mind, in this story, I'm just going to pause for a Chartism. Part of me says it's probably looking at, look at me, I'm perfect. Look at you. You're not perfect. Look, you have a little blemish. You got a little spot there. Like, this is me. Okay, back to the story. The poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection and miserable that it was able to accomplish only half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be a bitter failure, it finally spoke to the water bearer one day. It broke all rules of can't communicate with the humans because then they'll know we have sentience. It broke the third or the fourth wall and said, so I'm sorry. I'm ashamed of myself. I just have to speak. I want to apologize to you. And the water bearer, after it gets over the fact that the pot's talking, the water bearer says, why? What are you ashamed of? The pot, I've been able for these last 2 years to only deliver half of my load because of this crack in my side. It causes water to leak out all the way back to the master's house. And because of this flaw, you have to do all this work and you don't even get full value from all of your efforts. The pot finished. The water bearer felt compassion for the pot, and he said, as we return to the master's house today, I want you to notice the beautiful flowers along the path. Indeed, as they went up the hill, the old cracked pot took notice of the sun warming at the wild flowers on the side of the path. And it felt a little better, cheered it up a little bit. But at the end of the trail, the pot still felt bad because it leaked half of its load again and apologized. I'm so sorry, I did it again. Ugh. The bearer said to the pot, did you notice that there were flowers only on your side of your path, but not on the other pot's side? That's because I've always known about your flaw and I took advantage of it. I used it for good. I planted flower seeds on your side of the path. And every day while we walk back from the stream, you watered them. For 2 years, I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate my master's table. Without you being just the way you are, he would not have this beauty to grace his house. So I'm sure that the story ends there with a bit of a moral to the story, and I know you understand that I'm sure the pot was like, look at that, and probably leaned over to the other one and said, so are you listening? I do flowers. I do flowers. And again, there's always a snark because in my head, that's how I tell stories. There's always got to be somebody snarky who gets a come up or who gets told about themselves. But I love the fact that the cracked pot is not bad. It's not useless. It's not, a lot of times, don't we look at our own flaws and we're like, I wish I were more like, and you fill in the blank. And we're dismissing the usefulness of 100% of ourselves. how much of a blessing we can be, flaws and all, showing up the way we are, because that's part of the divine plan. And I'm not too sure about the symbology of the master and the servant, but it is kind of in line with a lot of teachings where in theology, God is the master and we're their servants. I feel a little some kind of way about that because of slavery. But the point is that there's a divine plan bigger than ourselves, and that we're here serving that big thing that we don't see all of. We don't see all of it. All we see is our part that we could do with it. And then we move forward using that knowledge. But yet again, we still compare ourselves to perfection. We still ask, oh, I wish I were more like, or a lot of times I know as I grow older, I forget to acknowledge things are always changing. Things are always, everything changes. In fact, the only thing that stays the same is the fact that things change. Consider that. And I know this with my head, and I know this kind of in my soul, yet still there are times where I might look in the mirror and go, oh, that's new. Oh no, things are changing in this direction. Things are changing in that direction. Instead of being so grateful that I get to breathe in and out, I have a fairly healthy body, as far as I could tell, and it's working for me and it serves me, and I can serve others because it's serving me. Sometimes I'll look at some little flaw and be like, except for that piece. I wish I didn't have that thing. Maybe I can go and have them remove the thing. And then I'm reminded of a Japanese teaching that tells us that, first of all, perfection is a wild herring. It's a red herring. No one reaches it. And further, we need to actually accentuate our imperfections and build upon them and shine with them. And this teaching is called Japanese, it's called wabi-sabi. It's where you have, if there's an imperfection in a pot, or maybe the pot breaks and someone puts it back together, the seams that were created due to the break are accentuated with gold leaf or gold foil or gold to accentuate the beautiful pattern that has been created. In fact, Tamara, don't you have something? I'll have you show your picture. Let me add you to my spotlight. See that? That is a picture of a wabi-sabi cup. It says, sometimes it is what we survive that gives us our shine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so pretty. And what does it say up in the corner?
Up in the corner, it says, scars only occur where healing has happened. So embracing the imperfection, and they fill it, the cracks when a pot breaks, they fill it with gold because they say, look at it now, it's unique, it has a story, it has a history. They don't throw it away.
Right, they don't throw it away. That's the key. That's beautiful. I love that card. Thank you for sharing that. So, and I looked it up as we were chatting, Tamara and I, about that. She had just bought that card. So look at timing. Look at divine timing. It's amazing. This philosophy is where the wabi-sabi philosophy, here's kind of their idea. So if something happens to you that's terrible, let's say you lost your job or you broke a bone, normally in our Western world, we might say, oh, poor you. Because what happened? Life happened while we were making other plans. Life happened while we had ideas about what would be perfect. It would be and then when things actually happen and things show up, we might spend some time lamenting and wishing it were different. So here's what they say. They have a term called ukatamo, uketamo, which means I humbly accept this with an open heart. Ukatamo. You're about to lose your job, ukatamo. I humbly accept this with an open heart. And I feel as if that kind of approach to imperfection with, I'll just accept this that's happening, it keeps us from getting into ideas that would separate us, ideas that would bring us out of our reality and into some idea of duality or otherness, blaming, victimness. If we humbly accept what's happening, we stay in the moment and we can move through it. I've often mentioned a lot of times what gets us in trouble is not the pain we experience. It's all the machinations we go through to avoid pain because of what we're experiencing. It's the habits we start to embrace, the gambling, the addiction, the drinking, whatever online addictions people can concoct. There are many of those. There are many ways that life has provided to take us away from our present moment and put us into something just to distract us from the uncomfortable. But I'm here to tell you that about 20 seconds to a minute, there's some math that somebody did on how long it takes for a negative emotion to make its way through you if you just sit still and watch it go. Sit still, bring all of our attention to the negativity, and I just call it sit in it. Sit in it. Oh, but it's yucky, it's squishy, it's stinky. Sit in it. Because whatever we do to get away from it is going to, anyway, the way through it, the way around it is to go through it. We can't just go around because it's going to just gather up. And then when we deal with other people with unhealed, traumatic feelings that we haven't allowed to pass through us, then we end up spreading all kinds of yuck, toxicity, or whatever you call it. It's you know, you're in a toxic relationship when you feel like you can't even be yourself, your perfectly imperfect self, because the other person across from you is going to point it out, or they're going to make themselves the most important person, and you're always running around trying to fix them. You can listen. I've been listening to 2 different types of podcasts, and one of them was like, how do you be yourself wholly, fully, and authentically in the midst of a relationship with a person who's kind of never going to do that inner work, never going to do it? And sometimes it's your family, sometimes it's your people you work with, sometimes it's romantic entanglements that you can't get away from. So this is very important, to be able to sit in our own discomfort and not try to come up with some way to get around it, because the next time it comes up, we will not have worked any muscles out. We won't have any muscle of being able to sit in negativity. And we have to stop judging it as negative and just allowing it to be. I humbly accept with my open heart that which I cannot change. So if we allow life to be imperfect, then we start to realize everything is working together. Everything is working together for the divine purpose. And even if it started out terrible, it could be made in such a way, repaired in such a way that that becomes part of the healing story. That becomes part of the beauty of, oh, look what I've been through. Look at the beautiful scars that I'm showing them off. And then it makes us, maybe when we look at them in the mirror, maybe so many things aren't there to be fixed. Maybe they're there to be embraced. Maybe we don't have to try to emulate the shrinking few who are placed in front of us to be emulated, and the rest of us told, well, unless you're like the top X%, then you really don't have any value. Excuse you. Each of us has value, each of us. And it's not limited to a certain demographic or a certain age or height or weight. It's not limited. Each of us has intrinsic value. Why? Because we are here, because we exist. And we have to we get to accept ourselves to the very core of our being and be comfortable with the imperfections, knowing that the thought about perfection is not only a red herring, you can never get there. It's also quite distracting, and it could take a person years to realize, oh, I've been chasing something that I'll never catch. and look at all the time that I've spent. So, what is it that you're trying to do? What is it that you're thinking about doing that the idea of not doing it perfectly is standing in the way? Because one of my friends in ministerial school said she said something like, sloppy completion is better than perfect incompletion. How many of us have just stood there and said, well, I'm going to wait. I'm going to not start this yet. I know the time is coming and I'm going to procrastinate a little more because my perfectionism is keeping me from starting because I know I can't do it the way in my head it's supposed to be done. So I'm just not going to start. Perfectionism causes procrastination. It is the enemy of good. Perfect, the enemy of good. And so if we could just get rid of that word, perfect, and because even practice doesn't make perfect. I don't know why that phrase, practice makes perfect. No, practice helps us become more excellent at that. But perfection, it's kind of like the end of the rainbow. It's an illusion. You can't get there. The fact that the rainbow is what is it? It's the light moving through water, the prism being reflected from a certain distance. It's the only reason you can see it. When you try to get close to it, it either moves because you need that distance to see the rainbow, or it disappears altogether and now there's nothing. It's kind of like perfection, the end of the rainbow, impossible to reach, yet touted as the best thing to go for. No. Everything in life is imperfect. Everything in life is in a state of flux. Nothing is static. Everything's moving. So we've got to figure out when to just jump in. Spoiler alert, it's now. Jump in. It's never going to be perfect. Timing, never going to be perfect. The weather, a convolution of the weather, your feelings, the stock market, your bank, whatever it is you're waiting for to start that thing, never going to be the perfect time. Now is the perfect time. To the person who just kind of said, well, the thing I really want to do doesn't pay, so I'm going to do it on the side. And then you got distracted for 20 years. It's fine. Come on back and do a little bit every day. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, tell yourself, I'm going to just sit down and do this thing, whether it's playing the piano or writing a novel or whatever it is. Do a little bit every day without any expectation of perfection. Just take that off the table. Progress, not perfection. Progress, just a little bit at a time. And then we will begin, and I'm one of these too, we'll begin to look around us and say, oh, that's not so bad. I wonder why I made it out to be so bad in my. Yeah. So I love this whole talk. I love this whole month. We're going to be tackling perfection, the idea of perfection, and knowing that that's not the point. And we're going to be looking at it from many different angles. And I can't wait. Next week, Tamara will be giving us our guest speaking. She'll be the guest speaker next week, and we'll dive a little more deeply into this topic. So thank you for joining us. Let's go into prayer. There's one divine energy, there's one divine power, and that is the universal intelligence from which all existence springs. This absolute energy of divine consciousness, it is what is the wellspring from which life flows. And that wellspring in itself is perfectly expressing itself, even as it looks like imperfection to us. We must know that the highest being that is in each and every one of us is always expressing itself, and it's always whole, perfect, and complete, even now when it doesn't look like it. We know that the truth with a capital T is always unfolding. And so I speak my word into the law for anyone in our spiritual community and beyond that is experiencing something that looks other than wholeness. I speak my word that all is well, all is unfolding in perfect timing, according to the divine plan of which we only see a small glimpse. We trust that there is something bigger, more magnificent going on. There's something bigger using our imperfections to sprinkle love, joy, and even water on those things that need it. And we know that that's where the light gets through. The cracks are how the light gets in. And it's how the light comes out. And so I know that we are divine instruments of this perfect being, and we are following our highest intention, our highest inspiration, and we move boldly forward today, right now, in our path, because we know we're here to do what we are called to do, and we're embracing that. I just love the fact that I get to watch it all unfold, and I'm grateful. So I simply allow this to be because the universe always says yes. I release my word into the law. So it is. Amen. Ashe.
Amen. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that was all just one giant nugget. So when we come together for the nuggets, that was just one. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. And during the prayer, just now, the song popped back into my mind from a camp experience. So I'm going to do my best to remember it as it was sung then, and it may be imperfect, but it's a call and response. So I'll sing a line, and you sing it back. Forget your perfect offering, forget your perfect offering. Just ring the bell that you can ring, ring the bell that you can. There is a crack in everything, there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in, that's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in. So we sing the last line, that's how the light gets in, together. Let's give it another go. Forget your perfect offering, forget your perfect offering. Just sing the song that you can sing, just sing the song you can sing. There is a crack in everything, there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. 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 All right, one more time. Forget your perfect offering. Forget your perfect offering. Just sing the song that you can sing. Just sing the song that you can sing. There is a crack in everything. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. 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 That's how the light gets in.
Okay, I want a few more courses for that one. Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. Oh my gosh, I've heard that quote before. That's how the light gets in, and it's so great to hear that in a song. Don't you just want to bottle that up? Don't you just want to have that playing constantly in your ears? Oh my goodness, that was wonderful. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Reverend Charlene, for that inspirational message. I told you guys when I announced the theme for this month, I told you this is going to be an especially good one. So now is the time to bless the donations that are shared today. At CSL Leesburg, as you know, we believe in the law of circulation. You heard that in our opening video. We don't just say it, we don't just preach it, we do it. So our center is a tithing center. The donations that are shared with us at CSL Leesburg bless everyone, those who give and those who receive, because we take portions of what we receive. It helps us do what we do on Sundays to bring our message to you, but we also give some to our home organization, CSL, Center for Spiritual Living, as well as organizations, sometimes local, sometimes global, that help support our vision of helping to make a world that works for everyone. Everyone. I love that there's no asterisk behind that. A world that works for everyone. So look at our screen. There's so many ways to give. Odds are you found one already that works for you. We thank you so much for your support, because what you do, you allow us to do what we do on Sunday mornings. So now, no matter how you're giving, just take that, press it against your heart. It might just be in your mind, visualizing it, or maybe you have a physical little bit of money or check. Press that against your heart and join me in the blessing of our gifts. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. All right. Do we have any announcements? There's always dream study. Right. So the next dream study will be on Saturday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Join Charlene and her friends as they share their dreams, discuss their dreams, analyze their dreams, and just help each other to understand. Our subconscious is always, always, always working. We're receiving messages from the divine, and sometimes it comes in your dreams. Sometimes you can figure it out on your own. Sometimes you need a little help. And that's what they do on Dream Study. So the next one will be on Saturday, July 13th. And I think that's it for today. So once again, I love that right above that heart, as you say these words, think about our focus for this month of July. Practice makes imperfect, and just kind of embrace those words as you join me. And folks, I want you to turn on your mics today because I don't want to just hear my voice. So here we go. You ready? I am love.
I am love.
Woohoo! Now think of someone or point to someone who's in the room with you, or we know that it's all connected, so you can send this out to whomever you want to. Let's send those people the message, you are love.
I love.
You are love. Now we put our hands up in the air, something that we call love sprinkles. Here we go. Ready? It's all love.
It's all.
Woo! I love that. Folks, if you don't know this, Leah's coming to us from Germany, and I'm feeling the waves come this way. And I know we're sending the waves this way, and we're just covering our planet in love, because there's nothing more important than just spreading love and sharing love. Now, if you can, hang out with us, join us after service. We do something that we call Pearls. You share what especially reached you, touched your heart. Was it something in the meditation, the message, or the music? Or just hang out with us for a few minutes. We know this is a busy month, so we have very few participants. Blah, blah, blah. Embracing the imperfection. We have very few participants and viewers today that are with us live, but we'd love to chat and hang around with you. And if you have to go, just know that we send you off with our love and our blessings. So that's a wrap for today, July 7th. If you can stay, please stay. And if not, we'll see you next Sunday.